Grant Napier, Sean Salisbury here on No Filter Network. Sean, good to talk to you. And as we sit here at 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Central, the word is it ain't going to happen in the next hour. I'm talking about the talks going on in Major League Baseball. Now, again, those are the people that are there covering it. There doesn't seem to be a lot of encouragement right now that this thing's finally going to get settled before 5 o'clock. And that will be a absolute fucking embarrassment for Major League Baseball. And I'm beginning to think, Sean, that Major League Baseball doesn't want a deal. I really believe that they're trying to break the union here. It doesn't seem to me that Rob Manfred and baseball and the owners really want a deal.
At what point in time are they planning on giving the play? I mean, a little bit of latitude here. I mean, a good negotiation isn't when you beat the shit out of the other person. Okay.
Right.
I talked to Rob Dibble today. I had him on my show earlier on my local show in Houston, Grant. And Dibs, first of all, thinks the players are going to cave and that they've already started to, and we've seen it. They've given in. I mean, the owners give a little and the players give a lot. I know the players want to play. I'm convinced that part of the owners in baseball don't give two shits about anything but their bottom line and money. I don't think there's any. If you went into the quantitative part of this thing, it's all about the numbers. It ain't about feelings or any of that. They don't care. And I'm not sure that some of these owners even love baseball, honest to God, because this wasn't their first love. It's a great investment. Their price is going up. The revenue, the rights fees when it comes to money going up. The money they're going to make at the box office and everything they do. And some of these regional teams are printing money, right?
Yes.
And so, and the value, listen, the best investment, safest investment on the planet. If you own an NFL franchise, that's one. In baseball, don't believe we're losing money. Screw you. No, you're not. Okay. And here's what I don't get is, did you not look in the ballpark when we were going through COVID and see a horse shit empty stadiums, empty ballparks everywhere? And if you thought baseball was any good without fans in the stands, it sucked ass. As much as it sucked. There's no energy. The play, it did. And I understand some of the reasons why. We can get on that in another argument, but we didn't have fans in the stands. And so with that in mind, and then we had minimal. If you didn't know about turning the fans off without a seat at the table, you might want to rethink this. The owners are going to win this battle. They just are. The players, and here's another thing. You like when you're taking a test in school, Grant, how many of us waited until the 11th hour to study for a final so we could pass our test or make an A, instead of knowing 4 months in advance if we wrote a paragraph a day, we'd have our 20-page paper done and it'd be done. They've known this forever. I'm with you. It's almost as if they're saying we are going to rip your union to shreds and have you guys infighting so you go your separate ways. Sledgehammer, one's holding the sledgehammer, the other's holding the hammer, and the players are going to lose this and they're going to keep. I still believe it'll be done this week. I think we'll be in spring training because when push comes to shove and desperation kicks in, people they start to look around, their head on a swivel, and they let it go. The players have conceded enough, but the owners are going to beat it into the ground, and then they're going to walk away from this bitter, and I'll see you again in 5 years to do it all over again.
Okay, so you really believe that if there's no deal reached by the top of the hour in another 60 minutes, which is the deadline, you really believe that there will still be a deal this week?
No, I guess I should have prefaced that. I thought this morning that after what happened yesterday, that even though they were still far apart, that the panic of, oh my gosh, the reality of we are actually going to miss games and paychecks. Now, can Max Scherzer afford to miss a game? Sure. But there's plenty. Dibs was talking about the average, like 5.6 years for a player to play. We all think it's the Scherzers and the Jeters who play 20 years and 15 years. It's not. It's all the other cats, right? And I know we're not supposed to feel sorry for players, and I don't. They make plenty of money. And the truth is, Grant, we really don't. 2 months from now, you and I mean, even hardcore baseballs that we're fans that are studying what the issues are in these negotiations, 95% of America doesn't really give a shit. They just want you to say, we're playing baseball and let's go at it. I'll see you in 5 or 7 years, whenever. They don't. Because for me, well, I go back and forth. Do you really deep down give two shits 9 months from now what the minimum salary for a player is? No, you care about going to the ballpark and having baseball back. I don't mean that mean or disrespectful. It's just the facts.
Right.
So we just want baseball back. But no, I thought they'd hammer it out today because the players would cave even more and panic more because the owners can afford it more, and that they'd get it done and we'd be playing baseball and spring training by the end of this week. If it goes today and you're bitter walking away, I don't even think they'll be back in a meeting by the end of the week. Do you?
No,
If they don't
hell
get it
no. I
done
don't think
right,
they'll be back in. I don't think they'll be back in a meeting for a couple of weeks if they don't have an agreement today. I really
which
don't.
means we'll miss a month of baseball, regular
Oh
season
yeah,
games.
yeah,
Agreed.
no question. All right, something else I wanted to talk about, and I got to tell you, you talked about COVID, and there is nothing more fucked up than what is going on in New York City with the new vaccine mandate, which goes into effect on March 7th. So, for the people that are not familiar, in a nutshell, beginning on March 7th, if you're unvaccinated, you can now go into a restaurant, you can go work out in a gym, and you can go to an entertainment venue. However, if you are Kyrie Irving, because you work for a private business, you still are not allowed to go to work if you're not vaccinated. But yet, players on other teams that come into play in Brooklyn, if they're not vaccinated, they can play. So what I'm saying here is Kyrie Irving, if he wanted to, could get on a fucking subway packed with people, could stop on the way to the Barclays Center and go work out in the gym. Then after he showers, hangs out, he can go into a packed restaurant. Then he can actually walk into the Barclays Center. He can sit on the floor in floor seats and eat his popcorn with thousands of people in the arena around him, but he can't fucking play. Is there anything more ridiculous and more stupid than that, Sean?
We're living in a world of horseshit, hypocritical nut
Yep.
jobs. Okay.
Yep.
Now, listen, hypocrisy. It's like I say, this is the strangest thing. And you know what? Good on Kyrie Irving to stand his ground. I know people get pissed at him. You know what? Fuck you. It's his opinion. He can do what he wants. I'm not making decisions for Kyrie. Listen, well, tonight after the State of the Union address, all of a sudden COVID's gone. Apparently, I mean, it's going to be. We don't have it anymore. So listen, this mask vaccine shit. Don't get me started on it. I respect anybody who's been vaccinated. If you want to wear a mask till hell freezes over, have the fuck at it. Okay. If you don't, then great. I love you too. But yes, grab me that popcorn and that soda. But because it's a private business, I mean, it's the dumbest,
Hey,
craziest shit
and,
of all time. Matter of
and
fact,
listen to this.
it's that part of it. I'm not laughing at people for wearing masks or vaccinated or otherwise, but it's so comical that we're in this situation. It's like you throw your head up and say, "Oh, so it's not about anything other than we're doing it this way." Of course, it's horse shit.
Hey,
Of course it is.
get a load of this. The mayor of New York comes out and says he can't give special treatment to Kyrie because it wouldn't be fair to other employees and private businesses. And you know what? I actually agree with that. However,
Agreed.
I agree with that. But then the mayor says that the mandate is ridiculous and makes no sense. So I did a rant on this yesterday. If the mayor of New York City, I believe his name is Mayor Adams, he's a new mayor. If the mayor of New York City thinks that the mandate is ridiculous and makes no sense, you're the fucking mayor. Change it. You're the mayor of this city. You are the mayor. Change it. You get together with the people, the morons that make these stupid decisions, and you change it. I mean, isn't that what an elected official does? If you're the fucking mayor of New York, the biggest city in America, and you as the mayor think it's ridiculous and that the mandate makes no sense, and you want Kyrie to play, but you can't give him special treatment, then change the damn thing.
Yeah, and change it for everybody. You know
Yes,
what?
everyone.
It's amazing. I mean, it's okay now. If you want to wear, like I said, you want to drive down the street in a mask on, all respect. You won't wear one in my car, okay? And that's okay. And I won't wear one in yours. But that's no I'll just stay away. And if you're the mandate and all that, listen, we all have an opinion, but it's amazing how you could be literally 4 feet from each other and it'll change mandate, private, public, this and that. Listen, I'm not here to tell people what to do, but I am here to tell you that if you're the mayor and you can't change it for everybody and you feel bad for them and you think the mandate's insane, then what the fuck are you doing?
Exactly.
Far be it from me. I'm not in New York City, but man, I'll tell you what, that thing with Kyrie, dude, is the most, it's actually, it's become laughable. It has
Yes.
become laughable of what's going on with him and what he can do and can't do, but yet sit there, but we don't want you on the court because of you here. But if you're a visiting player, you can, because are you out of your frigging mind? That it's nuts. And Dude, if you want to backtrack, get me started on all this shit all over again and ruin my day, let's go. Okay.
All
About
right, so
all
all right, well, I'm gonna make you happy. We're gonna talk about football.
You're not ruining my day. I'm actually kidding, but you make a great point. It's complete. The hypocrisy of it is maddening, is what it is.
I have for a long time thought that the combine is very overrated. I think it's actually almost unnecessary. You have snaps of every fucking play an athlete has had from high school all the way through college. Now I'm going to get guys in shorts and short sleeve shirts, and I'm going to watch them run and I'm going to watch them do things. Is it really going to change my opinion? And if so, why? What's your take on the combine? Is it a valuable tool, or is it just let's make some money. Let's get everybody in Indianapolis. Let's put it on the NFL network and let's all get together and go to fucking St. Elmo's and have our shrimp cocktail and our steak. What you tell me?
Social event made for TV. I've been saying for 2 decades, from the years I was on TV, it's the most overrated event of the year.
And you
Football
and I have
event of the
not
year.
talked about this. No.
Dude, I haven't watched 15 minutes of a combine camp in my fucking life. I've watched the combine as often as I've watched the Pro Bowl. Okay. Now listen, I get the social. There's a couple things about it I get. All the, everybody wants to go there and hobnob, and we got press conferences. I get it. And made for TV so we can watch guys run and it looks good and you can post the video. I get all that. I don't have to watch it. I'm not interested in watching it. With quarterbacks, listen, first of all, if you're a first round pick or a top 15 pick, why would you even do it? You can hurt yourself more than you can help you. Why would you even do it? Go take your interviews with the teams. Don't run. You can hurt yourself. If you can't throw, listen, I can go to the combine with a week's preparation, and I can throw every ball they're going to throw and keep the ball off the ground in shorts and a t-shirt. I'm just at my age, I can still do it. Now, I may not get there as quick as somebody else, but really, shorts and a t-shirt. Now, most really, the football people realize that they're not judging a guy, but they will. If a guy ran a 4.4 and all of a sudden he goes 4.37, his ass will go from the third round to the first round in a heartbeat. And he may not be able to play a lick and fuck of football, okay? But he can run his ass off. I get it. A guy measures, he bench press. I get all the optics and measurables of it. And I know we got to get measurements. That's fair. But the throwing and running a curl route, you're going to do all this shit again at the pro day. You got your pro day. The interviews, there's two things. Interviews, and like for a DB, I'd like to see him flip his hips. For a receiver, because he catches the ball with his hands and explode out of a cut. But I do have 15 or 30 or 40 games of tape on the cat. I would think that matters. And I've never seen a sport where more people rise and fall between the last national championship game, who didn't compete even in the Senior Bowl or any bowl game, rise and fall faster in football, and they haven't done shit since the season ended. I don't know where it all goes. It's a made-for-TV event. It's the most overrated week of the year, and some people are fanatical about watching it. I never have. I never will. I've never covered it. Last time I was at the Combine is when I was in it, okay? And it was in New Orleans, and it was before Mardi Gras, right around this time. And me and about 5 Pac-12 quarterbacks, when we were all done with it, we turned Hurricanes upside down. Those drinks on Bourbon Street, me and Rippon and David North. We had Hugh Miller. We had a friggin' blast, but not before we tested. But it's a cattle prod. By the time I was done, my knee that was being rehabbed it felt like it was. I tore another ligament because they moved it around about 27 times with 50 different doctors, right? But listen, I understand all the hobnobbing that goes. It's unnecessary. I'm never judging a quarterback because he throws it 75 yards in an indoor facility that you don't have a pass rush knocking the shit out of you. You want a real combine? Put pads on him and let's run the drills like that. And let's get after it. But that'll never happen because we don't want anybody hurt. Make them do the standing broad jump in full gear. Make them jump the long jump or their vertical in full gear. Run the 40 in full gear. But we're not going to do that. So, for me, Grant, I take nothing away from combine other than when I see a guy who's like, oh, he's 4.29 and he's a good football player. Those are the outliers, of course. But for me, the pro day is more important because then you get to dictate all the throws and what you do. And for the most part, unless a guy just lays an egg, these scouts know exactly where a guy fits in their progress and in their program as far as they start to slot him on their workout. The combine has minimal effect, if you ask me, other than the interviews and some outlier that runs so fast you can't believe it.
I love the fact that you and I think exactly the same. And, when you and I go on, we don't talk about this shit. So I had no idea that's how you felt, but I'm not surprised. By the way, word is coming in that basically the baseball talks are over. It's not going to fucking happen. Again, these are very preliminary. The some of the people that are saying this are people that I'm not familiar with, but they do have blue check marks, and they are there. And they are saying one in particular, Ben Nicholson, who works for let's see who Ben works for, sportsnet.ca, but he's there, and he said players plan to decline the MLB proposal, sources tell me. And John Heyman, who's very, very respected in baseball, said that players felt basically nothing about MLB's last and best offer, said that it's over and this thing is not getting done. What an absolute disgrace. It's disgraceful. And here's the other thing, not to get political, but when you see what's going on in Ukraine and you see the video of moms and children and people fearing for their life, and you see just the other domino effects, what the fuck are you doing? You're not able to read the room. You're not able to read the country. You're billionaires and millionaires. Wake the fuck up and see what is going on in the world. And you are going to not have, you're not going to have opening day. Well, I'm telling you, Sean, we always say this, Sean. Whenever there's a lockout, oh, well, I'm not going back. I'm not going to watch the game anymore. And fans always come back. I honestly believe this time that baseball is going to suffer some consequences by this fucked up labor situation. I really do.
Yeah, especially if this lasts, let's say we miss a full month. Grant, think about the vendors,
Oh,
the people who pour your beer, who take your tickets, that are relying on the extra money for this job as a secondary job, or bartenders at spring training that count on the next 4 months of mortgage. I know that people don't think, the players and the owners don't think about that shit. I can guarantee you, until they're going on and there's only 8,000 people in the stands and you've lost 4 in a row. Then they think about it. But right now, it's sitting in those rooms. They're not thinking about this. And I can tell you this, with all the, we all want to say we know all about the, you know, the tax and about minimum salary and, you know, when free agency kicks. Let me tell you something, dude. I'll be honest with you. And I'm like, as a player, I usually pull for them, as I said earlier. I don't, when all is said and done, I don't really give a shit what they argue over, because it's good. It doesn't matter who wins
I
this.
don't care
People
either.
think,
No one
well,
cares. No one cares.
yeah, if you win this, other than the players and what they're getting, and that's fine. That's their negotiation. I'm not in their union. That they think, well, if we don't give in now, then the next negotiation, then they'll give in. No, that's not true. The short memory. Oh, we hammered them last time. Shit, let's hammer them again. Or we held out last time. Let's do it again. There is no, you get no home time discount for what happened the previous CBA. It's just a new one. And by that time, there's some new rep. There's somebody else doing it. And I personally don't give two shits what they're fighting over. I know what they're fighting over,
Nope.
very, very much so. But you know, all I care about, am I going to spring training? Are people going to spring training? Do you get to go on your baseball trip? Is Fenway going to have people? Is Minute Maid going to have people? Or down there in Florida, they going to have people? I just, listen. And they think that they actually think that, and I know this, and sadly, we care about that more than they care about the fan and the media, but they are naive and above the clouds with their thought process that this doesn't matter. Yet it ain't
Yep.
about you, the fan, and it should be. It's about them, the player, and them, the owner. And I'm on the player side, because I don't think Rob
I
Manfred
know. I'm too.
loves baseball. I just don't.
I'm curious. You're in Houston. Correct me if I'm wrong, but your station's the flagship station of the Astros, correct?
It sure is.
Okay. I'm wondering. This is a two-part question. Houston's a really good baseball city. What do you think the impact of this is on the city? And I'm curious, you as a talk show host in the morning on the flagship station of the Astros, which right now you'd be talking Astros pretty much around the clock with the Rockets being so shitty. What's the impact of that on your show and your station?
It is the frustration. This, Grant, I've been in a lot of cities, and I know that there's towns that are, as a Yankee guy, and Red Sox and Philly and
Yep.
San Francisco and Los Angeles. There's a lot of great baseball. St. Louis, right?
Yep.
I could tell you, I've been in a lot of them. While this is a football state, Grant, at this current time, since I've been in Houston, especially I've been there 8 years now for the last 5. This is a baseball city in a football state. This city loves the Astros far more than they love any other sport in this city. And right now it's not close. And here's the impact. They want baseball. They crave it. I mean, they want to talk it. They want to talk Correa in the middle of the football season where he's going. They just do. And maybe it'll change when the Texans get good again, but because people love football and it's so popular. But baseball blows away everything else. So there's concern. But I get the feeling there's bummer that it's not started. Pissed that Rob Manfred gets most of the flack. Want their Astros back. But I'll tell you what the buffer zone is, Grant, in Houston. The Altuves, they love, Grant, I'm telling you, the passion, it's almost the admiration. I almost feel like Elvis Presley back in his days, how much they loved him. Like the stars in this town on the baseball diamond, Grant, they are worshipped here, even through this, because most people are saying, and they're blaming it on the owners, but you know who they're not blaming it on? Because another guy that's beloved is Jim Crane. Jim Crane played baseball in his past. They love him here. He loves his team here. It's so weird because all around people are saying, I'm not going to go. Rarely are many Astros fans. Now, some that say if they outprice me, I can't go. But Jim Crane is so beloved, and I understand why. Low-key guy. The Astros team, for whatever reason, maybe it's been that us against the world after what happened in 2017, that they rally around it. So more people are pissed at Rob Manfred than anybody. And in Houston, I'm just going to tell you, Grant, if this is 30 days late, there'll be some. But for the one person who doesn't show up or the 4,000, 4,000 more are going to go, because this is a town that baseball, quite frankly, at this stage, trumps everything. I could talk Astros in opening day of the NFL season, and people still want to. So I love it. It's easy to talk baseball, but this town loves Mr. Crane and the Astros so much that it's all 95% of it's pointed right at the owners, and it's
Jeff
not Jim Crane.
2 minutes ago, Jeff Passan of ESPN put out this tweet in capital letters breaking: MLBPA player leaders agree unanimously not to accept MLB's final proposal, and there will be no deal on a new collective bargaining agreement before MLB's 5 p.m. Eastern deadline, sources tell ESPN. So, again, I was with you. I actually stayed up last night past 2 a.m. Eastern time because I have a podcast today. And I thought I would have good news and I could talk about that. So at 2 o'clock, I went to sleep and I got up this morning at 6:30 because I wanted to, and I couldn't fucking believe that they had not reached a deal. But I was optimistic when I said, oh, they're going to extend the deadline at 5 o'clock. And when I saw that they were going to extend the deadline, Sean, to 5 o'clock today, I was like, they're going to get a deal done. There's no way they're going to extend this, fucking talk until 3 a.m, come back and not get a deal done. But based on what I'm seeing, it almost looks like that they've taken major steps back today. So I don't see this thing getting done anytime soon.
When they walk out of that meeting room, like I said, when I said I thought the players after this, that even though there was stuff to do, it felt like cross some T's, dot some I's, a little bit of hardcore negotiation, but that everybody would realize we can't miss games. Well, the players, and maybe the players are catching wind that, because a lot of people I've read that the players, are going to cave and they're giving in to everything. Maybe the players decided to bow their neck and say, screw this. This isn't going to happen. And you're not breaking this union up. We're solid in this. And now the question is, what happened was, Grant, now if bitterness starts to seep in, getting people back to the table takes longer. So now when they walk away from this, I don't think they're going to schedule a meeting tomorrow. Do you? Or the next day? Like,
well,
you
not
said,
only that,
2 weeks away?
No, hell no, they're not scheduling a meeting tomorrow. There's no fucking way in the world they're having a meeting tomorrow. I don't see any way in the world.
Right. Oh, I agree. So now you start to dip into what you're saying. If you're a sit on the fence baseball fan, you are done, especially coming out of COVID. What's going on with like you mentioned, the recognizing the room. Hardcore fans, I'm still going to watch baseball in 3 months, Grant. You and I both are, because I love it. But to me, minimum salary, you want this minimum, they want that. Okay, they ain't spending any of it on me or any of it on you or any of it on the fans. So why do I give a shit what they make? I don't. I just want baseball, however you get to it. And it appears that the players want to play it more than the owners want to play it. And here we are. And if it goes long, man, this could be. We don't have McGuire and Sosa to save baseball, man. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have that era. That era has changed. It wasn't just those two, but that long ball and Bonds, the whole thing. Now we're at a point where this happens. You might as well. This is going to be if this goes long, this is going to be a very bitter 2022 season.
The only time I get upset when it comes to salaries are when athletes take games off like we see in the
Right.
NBA. When a
Right.
James Harden decides he's not going to play for a couple games and he's making over $600,000 a game,
I
that
got a
shit
problem with it.
irks me. That
Especially
bothers
when
me.
you're paying for a ticket and you went there to see him play that one night, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Agreed.
That for me drives me fucking crazy. That's the only time I really am bothered by how much they make. Other than that, I don't give a shit. And I'm with you on baseball. I don't care what the minimum salary is. I don't care about the tax. I don't care about any of that stuff. First of all, we as fans, we don't even understand it. We don't. You think we understand the luxury tax in baseball and all the other shit that they want? Arbitration this, arbitration that for so many years of service. Who cares? As a baseball fan, we don't give a shit. Get out on the field and play. That's what we care about.
You want to see the stars on the field. And
Yeah.
what you don't want to see, no offense, is if the stars aren't on the field, the product dips. And that doesn't mean we
Yep.
don't like minor league players. And we go to watch the players, not an owner sitting in his suite. Sorry to tell you.
That's
And
right.
none of us go to listen to Rob Manfred
No.
talk. But if it gets bitter, man, athletes, I'm going to tell you what, most athletes I know are reactive. You
Yep.
give me this, I'll react. At least in my sport, in football, they react. You punch me, I punch back, right? That's the way. So now it's gotten to the point where if you're the players, you almost start to get painted in a corner where people say, "Don't be soft. Don't. We're not going to be a bitch here. We're going to fight back." And the owners are like, "Whatever." And now look where we're at. And it's not going to have an agreement today. Now the next thing is just getting everybody back to the table, which to me seems like it's going to be a hell of a hard thing to do, at least in the near future.
How about Jimmy Garoppolo is going to have surgery, Sean, on his throwing shoulder? So we're talking about a guy we all knew about his thumb. We heard about that shoulder in the game, I believe, at Tennessee, and then they said he, hurt it in the playoff game against Dallas. But again, we talk about him being underappreciated. Think about what he was playing with, and you can relate to this better than anyone. All right, he now has to have surgery on that shoulder that he was playing with, in addition to his thumb. I give the guy a lot of credit, man. I really do.
Ton of credit and never complained about it. Never bitched or complained or whined that they draft. I mean, Jimmy, a very underappreciated player. He just is. But now, Grant, it begs this question. Are the 49ers willing to, while he's rehabbing and going through all this shoulder rehab, and to where they say, well, if we trade him, what's somebody going to offer now? Are we losing value for Jimmy Garoppolo? So what are we going to give him up for a 4th or 5th round pick? Or do we keep him here, let him rehab, and maybe we keep him in the fray in 2022 if Brady or Rodgers are, if we can't get Rodgers in a trade or Brady's not coming. Right. So
one footnote, though, Sean. One footnote. They expect him to be fine by the summer. So I forgot.
Exactly. But will people trade? Then is this getting to a point now? Instead of a pre-draft trade, are we talking about a get him healthy, test him, and then trade then, or is some team willing to say, you know what, I'm going to trust the medicals and say, I want Jimmy Garoppolo in Indianapolis. We're going to trade Carson Wentz. We'll give you a 3rd round pick and we're going to go. Or does this slow that process down and make it a post-draft trade instead of a pre-draft trade? Interesting.
Would you see him being successful in Tampa?
I can see Jimmy Garoppolo being successful everywhere if he's got players around him. I don't think Jimmy is a carry you on your back for 6 weeks quarterback like Josh Allen, Mahomes. I do believe that you put him in there with good players. Listen, the guy's been a good player in San Francisco, but he misses easy throws. It's not the hard ones I'm worried about, easy ones. I don't think he's not you're hitting in your 3-hole old school or your 2-hole now where he's a run every day, but you give him good players, he'll put up consistent good numbers.
I'll tell you, I think a perfect place for him, a perfect place. And I know it's not going to happen because they've already said they're committed to another year to Ryan Tannehill. I think Garoppolo in Tennessee would be fucking perfect. Perfect in that system.
With Derrick Henry in the backfield.
Yes. And that defense.
A.J. Brown, you've got a coach. You're not relying on Garoppolo to carry you. Your defense got better. You're going to get more out of the receiving core. You get a good draft. And Jimmy can throw it 24 times. Kind of like the 49ers, but with a better running back, even though the run game in San Francisco. And it's perfect because you take your play action shots over the top. Jimmy's a very underappreciated player. I'm curious to see how teams will jump in the fray now, knowing Jimmy's going to have surgery, or if that delays it, or if you just say, I'm taking a flyer. The guy's going to recover. I'll trade a 3rd or so, whatever it is you think you're going to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo if the 49ers still, which I imagine, intend to move him.
Well, have a good rest of the day, and you can cancel your spring training plans, all right, with your radio show if you were planning on going to Arizona.
And I plan on going down, putting tennis shoes on, a hat and sunglasses, and just sitting there and drinking a cold beer and eating a hot dog in the stands in Scottsdale, too. And guess what? They screwed. Now I'm pissed. Now that you mention it, it's about me. No, I'm kidding. It sucks because this is full. This is baseball time, right? This is the way we do it. And so, yeah, as of right now, put them on hold or not at all, which sucks for everybody that has plans. And I'll leave you with this. Is there anybody in sports right now worth the price of admission more than John Morant in Memphis?
No, there is not. The guy is, I was going to say he's an all-star, but he's now a superstar. I think he's elevated his game to superstar status and what he's doing. And oh, yeah, by the way, his team is winning almost every night. So it's not just a great individual accomplishment. It's also, oh, yeah, and by the way, the team is winning. I think we make too much sometimes of individual stats and performances, but if the team is not winning, it doesn't mean as much. Memphis is going out and beating teams night in and night out. How about that?
He is every single night. There's a highlight. He's must see television or must see in person. So I figured you'd appreciate that because I'm always looking for, like last night, he'll dunk on a 7-footer and then his game winner. I mean, he is a phenomenal basketball player. He sure is. Great stuff, brother. I appreciate you.
All right, we'll see you later. Take care, buddy.
Do me a favor. Head to Brooklyn and mask the fuck up. Okay.
See you, my man.
Good stuff. All right, buddy.